Uh,
Oh, good. You're recording it. Okay.
so Manos is from PTS, and Peter is my colleague that take care of this case state that you asked about, Sweden.
Yes, Peter, I'm usually an Axia guy, so I have a bit of not that much experience about. I have a large experience with Axia, but you know, smaller experience with Pathfinder. But I find really interesting your MX product, and I also read this case study that you had from Sweden.
Oh, okay.
So it won't take a look, but probably as we have an ongoing installation, perhaps I would appreciate if you can shed some light into the configuration or probably the workflow of the MX.
Yeah.
And see how perhaps this can be utilized either in this project or in a future one. Okay.
Okay. Excuse me.
Yes, yes.
So the base of the product is basically just an audio interface. So it would be like any, as you have experience from Axia and Livewire, it would be like any of their QR nodes or whatever, no? Basically, what it originally was intended for was as a network device connected somewhere in the network, appropriately configured to convert from analog audio or digital audio to audio over IP in Dante or AES67, or vice versa. Okay, and it was a one-to-one converter, basically, like any of these network interfaces. However, it has a pretty powerful FPGA mounted, and we have capacity to license the product to run it as a matrix, and it actually becomes a non-blocking matrix. It has sufficient capacity to handle auto gain. It has capacity to do scheduler and so on. And basically, what we did was to port our matrix software with new ideas and additional stuff onto the MX license, and you run a software that we call a real-time control. And instead of having a 32 in, 32 out audio interface, all of a sudden you have a 64 by 64 non-blocking audio matrix that allows you to make summing and distribution, obviously, something that you cannot do in audio over IP, as you're well aware of. So actually, the best thing I can do is to show you the software and how it's running. Okay. So
from the brochure, and what you said, I see that at the back of the unit there is a 16 in, 16 out. Correct.
Correct.
Plus 30, 34. No, it is a 32 in, 32 out, right?
Correct. That is correct.
Okay, yes, I was plus 16 GPIOs.
Yes, but then these are the physical optocoupled ones, okay? But on top of that, you can use a very low-level protocol from us, virtual GPIO. And the virtual GPIO allows you to, let me see, I'm talking out of memory now, around 246 GPIOs and 250 GPIs.
Virtual, you mean?
Yes. So basically, we're just sending a short 10-bit string in UDP to a server that will handle it, and that allows us to interconnect other stuff in our ecosystem very simply. And it can be controlled and triggered by third-party applications like, I don't know, RCS SETA or any automation system.
What about the raw stock? Will it have you? Have you got any application or case that it can talk to via ROS talk or to any ROS device, like a switcher, like a server, like expression, like
as long as you can conform a very simple string, the protocol is super simple. So typically any automation system has an area where you can conform TCP or UDP strings.
Okay.
And it's a very simple thing to do. I can show. Sandra, can you allow me to share screen? Because it's disabled. So in order for me to be able to share, you need to allow
the
that.
ports, the UTP ports at the back are just for control, or they can also use as Dante on the MX version.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So let me see if I can share screen. Okay. So this is the startup screen, basically. I have a configuration here just to show you real quickly. The problem with this is that if I share a screen, I'm not sure if I can share if I drag this in, you don't see that, do you? There's a window inside
yes,
now.
Yes. I can see the window, yes.
Okay, there's a window with batch files, basically. Do you see that? No.
Yes.
Oh, you do? Okay. So basically what we can do with this is, I'll show you real quickly in edit mode. Basically, I'm using a Swiss file knife here just to create a short string, okay, in 10 bytes. So basically what we're saying to the Swiss file knife is to send a UDP to this IP address at this port and do this protocol, AEQ _run. And in this case, it's hexa, so this would be GPO 100, 101, 102, 103, okay? And 001 means that it's on, okay? So if I should run this, you would see that this one should be starting, okay?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And this corresponds to a list where I have basically configured just a few macros. That a macro is consisting in a series of cross points that can be either a salvo, it can be individual cross points, and then there can be GPIO and actions as well. So for example, if we go to the actual macro and look at this one, which would be corresponding to this, if we edit that, you can see that you can create a list that is as long as you want to. In this case, it's running a salvo, and then it also runs 2 GPO activations. These GPO activations, this is incorrect here because we are in a different range of IPs, but I'm just showing you as an example. But this could correspond to for example, I have 2 studios where I have 2 mixing consoles that I want to reflect the actual status of the netbox, because I want them to work in symbiosis, which means that I can trigger these GPOs from the console to the netbox. So I could actually start from either a third-party automation software, I could start from one of our codecs, I could start or turn off from any of our equipment that is GPIO capable. Okay. Any doubt you have, Manos, you just ask. Okay.
No.
Unclear.
It's quite straightforward, and it is yes, it is a bit more friendly than Pathfinder, I can say. Yes,
yeah, well,
it is.
And it's pretty intuitive as well.
It is.
You don't have to worry about. This actually is a real configuration from my friend of mine in Radio Viking in Stockholm. And these guys, they actually also open the studio doors and the main front doors, and they turn cameras on, and they also turns the RDS tags on the transmitter on and off, and so on and so forth. Okay. So there are many different things that they can do. They do the door chime and the open door and closing door, because they have a handicapped lady that is working nighttime, and she is of course in a wheelchair. It takes a long time to go in and out, but she can see on the webcam who is standing outside the door, and she can either close it or open it, among other things. No? So it's very straightforward. It's easy to conform these commands. Okay. We can also add VU meters, and it allows you to also control the gain and to apply, for example, auto gain if you need to. We can reverse the phase. We can convert it from stereo to mono signal and stuff like that. We can build the mono pairs as stereo, or we can leave them as mono, and then it looks a little bit strange, but basically because this is a stereo signal here. Okay, that's why it's only one cross point. Typically, you would see it like this. Okay. But it's a stereo signal, so it's already. But it allows you to sum in the matrix as many signals as you want. So you can do all inputs to one output and stuff like that. No problem at all. Okay. Let me send you. I can send some audio on just so you see. I'm starting it's just my desktop player, and I'm just starting an audio file. I don't know if you hear this. I don't think so, because it's only
I don't, but it is okay. Yes.
No, because it's
No
only
worries.
coming to my headphones.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
God. Okay. Basically, this audio, as you can see, is on this input. Let me see if I can open the audio, the Dante or the Dante controller as well. There are many things going on right now on this little computer, but it's behaving. I have no interrupts in the audio, at least. Anyway, in the Dante system, I'm just sending this from my player on a Dante virtual sound card. It's coming in on this. And if I then turn off I can trigger, turn them off, and you'll see that the VU meters will go off as well. Okay. Actually, I had but we can see that the output is still on, because I have a fixed cross point here that I have made manually. And I can take that, and then I will kill all the VU meters as well. So it's very, very easy to use, the system. It doesn't allow you to, well, it allows you to operate it either manually or I'm stopping the music because it's coming to my headphones. Okay, so you can run it either from third-party applications. You can run it from any of our equipment that has virtual GPIO capability, which is most of our equipment, including the audio codecs. I can then also run it directly from here. I can turn this one off. I just go and execute it, and I will remove them. So for example, the automation, I can also remove that, and then so it's easy to done this. There's also a possibility to, for example, if you panic, you can go into and you have the privilege, of course, because this is also user, it has user privileges. But for example, you can go in and clear all the cross points if you have the privileges. If I don't have the privileges, I won't be able to get into this, of course. And here, what I can do, I can clear all the input gains, output gains. If I have auto gain control activated or processes, the process is not available on the NetBox 32. It's available on the DSP units because the DSP has a CPU on it as well. So it allows us and it's a DSP, so we can run it. You can also at the same time just run the salvos. For example, the salvo, if you know what you're doing, you just need to turn Studio One to on for the FM and web, and on it goes. There's no audio. Well, and so on and so forth. It's pretty straightforward to do this. Apart from this, we can have a completely automated system as well. So we can actually create a schedule, and we can we can take any, for example, this is a Friday afternoon, and what does that do? Well, it's always executed, and it starts on this day, and we run only on Fridays, and it will run a macro. And to this, I can also add alarms and stuff like that. So we have silent detection and all these things as well. Okay.
Totally understood. Let me ask, have you got any other case except from this facility which also operates on AEQ desks?
Mm-hmm.
That is there any other case? I mean, with any other system that the MX works with?
Yeah, as I said, any, for example, ENCO, for example, have implemented these things as well. So in the cases where they have to run, they have it embedded in their protocols as well. So as long as you just indicate, you can either discriminate and say, okay, I am sending to a specific IP, this GPO that will become a GPI at the receiving end, and it's with a specific destination. Or you can have just a generic, you don't know to what IP you're sending it, but you can discriminate at the input and saying, okay, if I receive this ID of the GPI and it's existing in my database, I can trigger it. Okay?
Okay, understood, Peter. Okay. It's clear.
It's very simple to do, and it works very well in our system, of course, in our ecosystem with our equipment, basically because all our equipment are implementing the protocol, and and it's also implemented in a way that it's in conformity with the NetBox server, because as I said, there's no intelligence on the NetBox 32. Okay, so we actually have to run a little server application. Okay, that server application is basically just either an application like this that you can actually see and stop whenever you want, or you can also have it as a service. And if it's in a service, it's typically just sitting on a server somewhere in the rack room, and it's running continuously. And what it is doing is basically translating any command that is coming to the NetBox NetBox only says, I have received this, what do I do with it? And the server will reply to the NetBox. This is simplifying, of course. Will basically just say, okay, this means that you need to do this and this and this. And you need to run these cross points, and you need to set these gains. Or if you don't have audio on that input, that means that you need to trigger an alarm, and so on. Okay?
Okay. Yes.
Typically, people run them on services, but you can also run them, as in this case, I have it on my computer, but it's... So basically what you do is you configure your netboxes, okay? You can add as many netboxes as you want, and you can have different configurations for each of your netboxes, okay? So if I have a netbox DSP with 100 inputs and outputs, or I have this netbox 32, or I have a netbox 8, which is a 16 by 16, I can run different depending on my privileges, and if I have right to do it, I can just configure this, okay? The next thing you need to do as well is to set up the users, okay? And here basically what you do is you just add users as you want, and you give them certain levels and so on and so forth, okay? And we can have them belonging to groups and so on. The alarms, well, it's not that difficult. Basically what it does, excuse me, you need to give it a name, and you need to say that if it's on conflict, or if it's doing an override of the cross point or removing it, and then you fire it when it's at a threshold, and then when it recuperates, how long will you wait until you execute it? So you can define here basically 10 seconds, and this you need to increase it by 2 seconds for the sake of reaction in the system. And the same goes when you're recuperating. Okay.
On the on the physical GPIO ports,
it can also it can be you can execute physical GPIOs as well, no problem. You can associate this to this as well.
Can you discriminate, let's say, on a physical GPIO port, like like a pin 1 and 2 will actually trigger this device, and pin 3 and 4 this device, and so you can, so there's no need actually to waste one GPIO port for just one device, so you can
correct.
Okay, understood.
So the same way as we have the GPIs, we have the GPOs, and here as you see, it's discrimination by I'm sending this to a specific IP address. Okay.
Okay, I see. Yes. Okay.
And if you in the GPI, there's no need to indicate. You only need to indicate what number you're responding to. Okay. But not IP. Yes. It doesn't matter. It's if it's in the same network, and I have this in my database, this GPI, I will execute, and that's it.
The GPI number is not the pin of the port. It's 101, 102.
No, in this case, it's the virtual ones, and the virtual ones.
Okay.
So the virtual ones allows you, as I said, from I think it's 246 up to 255.
Whatever. Okay.
Exactly, or 250. The GPI. This is the physical GPI. Okay, and this is the GPI 1 through 8, okay, or through 16, okay, and here you can configure your GPIs and your GPOs, okay. And then there's another interesting little feature which I like a lot, and that is a translator, which means I can have a virtual GPI that triggers a physical GPO, okay. So if I get a virtual GPI, I don't know, 160, This means that I'm going to trigger the physical GPO 1.
That's the whole port, right?
Yeah, so it's a translation table, basically.
This is
GPI virtual to physical GPO, and the vice versa. Physical GPI triggers a a virtual GPO. This is interesting if you can locate, for example, a netbox or a node in some area of the building where you need to do something with third-party equipment where that has only GPIO in optical code. Okay. It's pretty useful. A lot of people use them for, as I said, to open doors, to close, or open cameras or whatever. No, it's this is also an interesting thing. We can in the since we have the library installed for the Dante, what we can do is in the Dante controller we can give our netbox the real names. So basically, if I have the Dante IP, the netbox, I can basically reset so I have the same naming convention in both the netbox and in the Dante controller. This means that I don't have to do the naming twice, okay? I can do it either in the Dante or I can do it in the netbox and then import or export as I want, okay? So pretty straightforward and simple. This is an interesting piece of the equipment as well. This is also related to the GPIO, okay? This is a hardware switch. This means that you can set, for example, and this I'm not very good at. This is, we can select GPIs. We can say that if this combination is like this, and then we can say, okay, if we have a combination like this means that we want to apply this. If this is the physical GPI, then this will be here. And if it's like that, I will run this. And if it's like this, it will be this. And so on. Okay? This means that the status of my GPIs will run my macros or my salvos, okay? And then we can also define what output we are using. Okay, in this case, we're going to only on the web server. And that's it. Okay?
Quite interesting and very useful.
It is because this allows you to do things. For example, imagine yourself that as an extra safety, if my server goes down in the server room, but I still have my netbox matrix running, depending on the status of the GPI, I can continue triggering the macros and the salvos. Okay.
Peter, you got me covered. Okay, I mean, that was a very nice presentation. So at least I can have an idea because it is indeed a very nice solution. Yes.
Yes, it is. It is nice and it's easy to set up. It's easy to run, and you have infinite possibilities with this. It's easy to configure and it's easy to run logs, and you can back up and create new databases. We can copy the matrix for spare units and stuff like that. We can save workspace. For example, I can open a workspace. The default one is the one that you see here, but I can have another one that looks like that. Okay. So you can also for example, another thing that is interesting is that you can actually create talkback facility. You can use this as an intercom as well. Okay. So for example, if I have a talkback, I have created one very simple. If I run that one. No, that was configuring. I want to open it. Okay. Yes. And see, now I have created a cross points here for talkback, and I can have it in ETT or okay. So we can create a talkback system directly from the matrix, and I can use my computer and my mic on the computer to do talkback, for example, in the central control, if I need to talk to the producer or to whomever is sitting in the switchboard taking calls and stuff like that. So it can be used for that as well. Or to talk back if we are using it in a sport multiplex, for example. No? I have 3 or 4 football fields that I have to cover, and I need to be able to talk back to the presenters at each venue. No? And that's it. So there are many different features that are included here, and it looks pretty simple. We can go through the software in detail, but it would take hours and hours.
No, it's okay, it's okay. I have a global idea, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much.
No problem, Manos.
We'll be in touch. Thank you.
If you have any questions right now, feel free to shoot.
Right now, no, I mean, I have the idea, so we will see if, we have something that we can implement this device. Okay.